This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for USVI News. I'm Haley Potter. In St. John, VIPD are still searching for a 56-year-old woman who was reported missing in St. John on Monday morning. This is 56-year-old Sarm Joan Lillian Heslop. She was last seen on March 7th aboard the vessel Siren Song that was off the coast of St. John. She is a Caucasian female and she has a tattoo on her left shoulder. Police are asking you to come forward if you know anything, and the investigation continues. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Heslop is urged to call 911, the Criminal Investigation Bureau at 340-774-2211 or Crime Stoppers USVI at 800-222-TIPS. You are urged to say something if you saw something. Meantime, yet another day goes by that an elderly man has been missing in St. Croix. Family members and VIPD continue their pleas to the public for help in finding him. Take a look. This is 80-year-old Michael Joder Emanuel, and he has been missing since February 19th when he walked away from his home in the Canebrake Apartments. Investigators are offering a $3,200 reward for information leading to his whereabouts. And anyone with information on the whereabouts of Michael Emanuel is urged to call 911, the Wilbur Francis Command at 340-778-2211 or the crime tip line at 340-778-4950. And now to the latest on COVID-19 numbers here in the territory. There are currently 94 total active cases, 60 in St. Croix, 33 in St. Thomas, and 1 in St. John. We will bring you the latest COVID-19 cases as they are updated again tomorrow. And Virgin Islanders can now schedule vaccinations online through the Department of Health website. That website is covid19usvi.com/vaccine, and all Virgin Islanders ages 16 or older are now eligible to receive the vaccine, and residents without access to the internet can still book appointments at one of the community vaccination centers by calling the VITEMA hotline at 340-777-VAX, which is 8227. And this is a reminder, there is a community vaccination center in each district. It's at the University of the Virgin Islands, Great Hall in St. Croix, and UVI Sports and Fitness Center in St. Thomas. And across the nation, more than 62 million Americans have now received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. And now the White House agreed to buy 100 million doses of the J&J vaccine.
At the White House, celebrating unprecedented cooperation between two rival CEOs. A week after Merck agreed to help produce the J&J vaccine. Now the president is ordering another 100 million doses to ensure the country has enough for later this year.
A lot can change, and we need to be prepared.
Meanwhile, Pfizer and Moderna are increasing vaccine shipments to more than 20 million doses per week. While 60% of Americans 65 and older have now been vaccinated, 90% of the country has not. The good news is new cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are trending down.
We are at a critical point in this pandemic and on the cusp of having enough vaccine to protect every adult in the United States.
Also, the government is relaxing restrictions on visiting nursing home residents. With more residents vaccinated and infection rates dropping, the government is encouraging responsible indoor visitation at all times for all residents. Even if there's a confirmed case of COVID, as long as there's evidence that the outbreak is contained. The big unknown remaining is how quickly could the country achieve that herd immunity when 70 to 85% of the population is immune. Nearly 30 million Americans are known to have had COVID, but experts believe the real number could be 3 times higher. While it's not clear how long that immunity lasts, if you add that number to those already fully vaccinated, the total is 122 million with some degree of immunity. If another 120 million get their shots by mid-June, that would be 75% of the population within the herd immunity range.
At the rate we're currently giving vaccine, we can get there by the summer. I think what's going to tell all is what happens next winter.
And the hope is that vaccines provide a year or more of protection, but for those who have been sick, that immunity may last 3 months, maybe a year. Only time will tell. Meantime, more states are doing away with face masks. Another one joined the list Wednesday, and there's about a dozen that have done away with this mandate. Texas is the latest one. The Lone Star State is also allowing businesses to open at full capacity, but with only a small percentage of Texans vaccinated, some doctors are expressing some major concern. Business may still require masks, and many are, and some are leaving it up to their customer. Nationwide, the number of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are trending downward, but the health officials warn that we are at a critical point in the pandemic, and patience is being asked in practicing a proven protective measure for just a little while longer. And the House has passed a massive $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. The next step for this American Rescue Plan is President Biden's desk, prompting many people to ask when they will be receiving those direct payments. The measure, given the green light on Wednesday, includes $1,400 direct payments for adults who qualify, as well as jobless benefits and money for schools. The American Rescue Plan passed by a vote of 220 to 211 along party lines, with no Republicans voting in favor and only one Democrat voting against the measure. The passage of the historic bill comes after a hard-fought battle in both the House and the Senate, and just as the nation is about to cross that one-year mark of the pandemic. And Virgin Islands Governor Elbert Bryan praised the U.S. Congress for passing this relief bill and says it will help the current efforts of the Brian Roach administration to continue to recover the economy here in the territory. He says in a quote, "The American Rescue Plan will expedite our efforts to restore financial stability for all Virgin Islanders, businesses, families, individuals, and organizations. What was a ray of hope is now a light at the end of the tunnel, and President Biden and Congress are to be commended for taking action." And speaking of money, Americans continue to spend money despite a year-long global pandemic. But what they are spending on has changed. Let's take a closer look.
1 year into the pandemic, it seems like everything has changed. Work, socializing, and spending.
Most people spend, spoiler alert, a lot of their money on food.
A survey by thebalance.com says more than half of Americans made a comfort purchase in the past year.
I've been buying a lot of things that I can use inside the house.
The most popular, groceries.
9 out of 10 people said that fresh food makes them happy. Many of the grocery stores were running out of some of their fresh food, and then the consumers had to look at were there alternatives that they were acceptable to have.
And Barb Renner of Deloitte says the first meal of the day has changed more than the other two.
Where people used to stop at a coffee shop, get their coffee, get their breakfast sandwich or something else, and now that has shifted to more at home.
While signs suggest the pandemic may be nearly waning, Lauren Silbert of thebalance.com says many Americans now hope to change their spending again.
People are really wishing they could get out of their house right now. 28% on restaurants, 27% on travel. So they're really neck and neck of like what people want to do when this is all over.
And if you're out to dinner or on a trip, you will need something to wear.
20% of our respondents said they want to splurge on clothes and shoes, when this is over. And I think part of that is because you probably feel a little bit guilty for spending money on that stuff while you're home.
Americans eager to go out and go away after nearly a year at home.
And Britain's Prince William has defended the royal family against accusations of racism made by his brother, Prince Harry, and sister-in-law Meghan. During a visit to an East London school Thursday, William told a reporter, "We're very much not a racist family." William is the first royal to directly address Harry and Meghan's explosive TV interview. Buckingham Palace sought to respond to the couple's allegation of racism and mistreatment in a 61-word statement, but it has failed to quell the controversy. And if you plan on having some fun at Walt Disney World in Orlando next week, you might need a little magic to score some tickets. All 4 Florida theme parks are sold out according to Disney's reservation system. The big week that tickets are unavailable is from March 13th through March 19th, which is traditionally spring break for much of the nation. The reservation system for the parks came online last year during the pandemic when the company was trying to manage crowds at the parks. The capacity is currently at 35% and includes COVID-19 safety measures like mandatory masks, temperature checks, and social distancing. Along with all 4 Disney World theme parks, Disney's Blizzard Beach Water Park is also open. Typhoon Lagoon Water Park remains closed. The company's signature park in California, Disneyland, is scheduled to reopen by late April with a limited capacity as well. And just a reminder, if you are planning to travel for spring break, if you're flying in or out of St. Thomas, construction at the King Airport is underway. That means most of the airport's public parking area is closed. The VI Port Authority says travelers are being asked to be picked up and dropped off at the airport. Curbside parking is not allowed, and signs will be posted at the terminal advising of these new parking restrictions. The Parking and Transportation Center will have 600 parking spaces and a dedicated location for ground transportation and car rentals.